His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa sent a cable of congratulations to President of Somalia, Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, on his country's Independence Day. In the cable, His Majesty the King expressed his warmest congratulations and best wishes to the Somalian President for his good health and happiness, and to the people of Somalia for greater security, safety and stability. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa, the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, received Their Highnesses, the Chiefs of Staff of the Armed Forces of the GCC, the Assistant Secretary General for Military Affairs of the GCC States, the Commander of the Unified Military Command of the GCC States, and the newly appointed Assistant Secretary General for Military Affairs of the GCC States. They greeted His Majesty the King on the occasion of their meeting in Bahrain, conveying to His Majesty the King the greetings and appreciation of Their Majesties and Highnesses, the leaders of the GCC states, along with the best wishes for Bahrain and its people for continued progress and prosperity. His Majesty the King welcomed them all and asked them to convey his greetings and best wishes to Their Majesties and Highnesses, along with his wishes of further progress and prosperity for the peoples. His Majesty expressed his appreciation to the Chiefs of Staff for the commendable efforts in strengthening cooperation, coordination and integration among the GCC states in the military and defence fields, and for the unified stance against any threat targeting the security and stability of their countries. His Majesty wished them success in fulfilling their noble duty. His Majesty praised the important role of the GCC Armed Forces in protecting the security, stability, sovereignty and achievements of their nations, as well as the safety of the citizens and residents. His Majesty commended their high level of efficiency, readiness and professionalism in confronting the hostile Iranian aggression, which reflect the strength and cohesion of the Gulf defence system. His Majesty affirmed that an attack on any one of the GCC states is an attack on all of them. For their part, the Chiefs of Staff of the Armed Forces of the GCC states expressed their appreciation and gratitude to His Majesty the King and their pride in his wise guidance and support for the Joint Gulf Action System in all fields. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, sent a congratulatory cable to the President of Somalia, Hassan Sheikh Mohamud, on Somalia's Independence Day. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, issued Edict 25 of 2026, amending certain provisions of Edict 35 of 2023, establishing and forming the National Human Rights Committee, based on a proposal by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and following the approval of the Cabinet. The title International Human Rights Affairs Committee shall replace the title National Human Rights Committee in the title of Edict 35 of 2023, establishing and forming the National Human Rights Committee, as well as wherever it appears throughout the provisions of the edict. The International Human Rights Affairs Committee shall be reconstituted under the chairmanship of the Minister of Foreign Affairs with the following members. 1. Chief Executive of Government Hospitals. 2. Under Secretary for Legislative Affairs at the Ministry of Interior. 3. Under Secretary for Courts, Family Reconciliation and Alimony at the Ministry of Justice, Islamic Affairs and Waqf. 4. Coordinator at the Office of the Prime Minister. 5. Secretary General of the Ombudsman's Office. 6. Chief Executive of the National Communications Centre, NCC. 7. Under Secretary at the Ministry of Social Development. 8. Director General of Legal Affairs and Human Rights at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. 9. A Deputy Chief Executive for Legal Enforcement and Protection at the Labour Market Regulatory Authority. 10. Head of the Special Investigation Unit at the Public Prosecution. 11. Head of the Human Rights Affairs Sector at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. 12. Director of the Legal Opinion and Research Directorate at the Legislation and Legal Opinion Commission. 13. Director of the Labour Relations Directorate at the Ministry of Labour. 14. Director of the Curriculum Policy and Development Directorate at the Ministry of Education. 15. Representative of the Supreme Council for Women. 16. Representative of the National Security Agency. 17. Representative of the Strategic Security Agency Committee. Members shall serve a 3-year term, renewable for similar periods. Edict 42 of 2024 on the reconstitution of the National Human Rights Committee is hereby repealed. His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister also issued Edict 26 of 2026, amending certain provisions of Edict 100 of 2023 on the reconstitution of the Academic Accreditation Committee, based on a proposal by the Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the Higher Education Council. Item 6 of Article 1 of Edict 100 of 2023 on the reconstitution of the Academic Accreditation Committee should be replaced with the following: Professor Dalal Abbas Al-Haj. The Speaker of the Council of Representatives, Ahmed Al-Musalim, made a statement on the occasion of the International Day of Parliamentarism, which this year highlights the pivotal role of legislative institutions in protecting human rights and preserving human dignity. Al-Musalim affirmed that Bahrain, under the leadership of His Majesty the King, has made human beings the focus of development and the ultimate goal of legislation since the launch of His Majesty's Reform Project. This statement was made on the occasion of the International Day of Parliamentarism, which this year highlights the pivotal role of legislation institutions in protecting human rights and preserving human dignity. He commended the significant support and diligent follow-up of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, who gives parliamentary work his full attention and believes in the importance of integration between the executive and legislative branches to achieve the aspirations of citizens. He explained that Bahrain has made significant strides in promoting human rights through legislation and oversight, with the Council of Representatives having passed qualitative legislation in the areas of human rights, protecting the rights of women and children, guaranteeing workers' rights and ensuring freedom of expression within the framework of the law. The chairman of the Shura Council, Ali Al-Saleh, made a statement on the occasion of the International Day of Parliamentarism, which is celebrated by parliaments worldwide on June 30th each year. Al-Saleh affirmed that the democratic approach and wise royal vision of His Majesty the King have contributed to achieving numerous democratic and legislative accomplishments, making Bahrain a leading model in the field of legislation and laws that support the development process. Al-Saleh commended the support and attention given by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister to deepening the paths of fruitful cooperation and coordination between the legislative and executive branches, which contribute to the sustainability of legislative achievements and national successes realised through the determination of Team Bahrain. He added that the Council continues to harness all legislative efforts and expertise in everything that achieves the national interest, and highlights the role of parliamentary diplomacy and its distinguished contributions in various regional and international parliamentary forums. The Deputy Prime Minister inaugurated the Bahrain Smart Cities Conference 2026, emphasising that developing digital infrastructure and adopting smart city transformation strategies is a pioneering step. He affirmed that investing in developing digital infrastructure and adopting smart city transformation strategies is a fundamental pillar in the modernisation process underway in Bahrain, under the leadership of His Majesty the King and the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. He added that the integration of government efforts and effective partnerships with the private sector represents a strategic path for moving from the planning stage to the actual implementation of future cities. He also stated that employing innovative solutions contributes to supporting comprehensive sustainability efforts and providing a sophisticated environment that meets citizens' aspirations and supports economic growth. This came during the Deputy Premier's inauguration of the Bahrain Smart Cities Conference 2026, held this year under the theme City Visions, where sustainability, innovation and smart transformation meet, in the presence of several ministers, senior officials and a gathering of specialists and participants from within and outside Bahrain. On the sidelines of the conference, he also inaugurated the accompanying exhibition. He stated that the continued modernisation of the government system and the adoption of modern technology to serve infrastructure sectors is a crucial guarantee for the sustainability of resources and the provision of services characterised by the highest levels of efficiency and excellence to meet the requirements of sustainable development. He expressed his gratitude to the Minister of Municipality Affairs and Agriculture for his efforts and excellent organisation of this distinguished annual event, which has become a prominent forum in this field. He emphasised that concerted efforts invested in smart solutions and teamwork, Team Bahrain, will contribute to translating ambitious strategic visions into tangible reality. He honoured the winners of the Bahrain Smart Cities Conference 2026 awards. These awards recognise pioneering projects and initiatives that have contributed to leveraging innovation and smart technologies to embrace sustainable development. The Ministry of Interior won the Innovation Award in Smart Public Safety for its National Alert System project. Eskan Bank won the Innovation Award in Digital Real Estate Services for its BIT platform project. The Information and E-Government Authority won the Innovation Award into Digital Identity for its eKey 2.0 project. The Electricity and Water Authority won the Innovation Award in Artificial Intelligence and Internet of Things Technologies for its Electricity and Water Network Control Centre project. The Zish Company won the Innovation Award in Smart Housing for its Nasiyam Arad project. And Bahrain Islamic Bank won the Artificial Intelligence and Fintech Award for its Smart Guide project. He also honoured the chairman of the Board of Directors of the Real Estate Regulatory Authority, Engineer Isam Khalaf, in recognition of his contributions to supporting the conference's objectives since its inception in 2016, in addition to honouring the partners and sponsors. The Minister of Municipalities and Agriculture, Engineer Wael Al-Mubarak, affirmed in a speech delivered during the ceremony that Bahrain's remarkable progress in the infrastructure, housing and digital services sectors is a result of the comprehensive development journey led by His Majesty the King and the directors of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, Prime Minister. He added that these rapid achievements are based on a national vision that places the citizen and fulfilling the aspirations at the heart of joint development efforts across various sectors. Al-Mubarak further stated that this year's conference themes reflect the importance of integrating planning, innovation and digital transformation to build future cities that balance economic growth and environmental sustainability, providing an environment that meets present needs and prepares for future challenges. The Minister of Sustainable Development and Chief Executive of the Economic Development Board, Noura Khalaf, stated in her opening remarks that Bahrain is preparing to present its third voluntary national review on progress towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals at the United Nations next July. This review documents national achievements within the framework of the comprehensive development process led by His Majesty the King and guided by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince Prime Minister. She explained that Bahrain has adopted an integrated concept of smart cities closely linked to the Sustainable Development Goals to develop societies capable of responding to current and future needs. The Minister of Health, Dr. Jalila Hassan, chaired the meeting of the GCC Health Ministers held via video conference. The Health Minister emphasised the importance of continued coordination and cooperation among GCC states to strengthen the Gulf health and pharmaceutical security system, ensuring the sustained availability of medicines and medical supplies, and enhancing preparedness to address future challenges and crises. She also underlined the importance of further advancing joint Gulf efforts to develop a unified strategic stockpiling system, supporting health and pharmaceutical security, and enhancing the ability of GCC states to respond to various challenges. As part of the government's ongoing efforts to improve the quality of services and re-engineer them, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Planning has developed a service for obtaining letters from government bodies on the basis of which new housing units are connected to electricity and water supplies once they've been allocated to beneficiaries. The aim of this improved service is to speed up the processing of transactions, simplify procedures and enhance the beneficiary experience. The Minister of Housing and Urban Planning, Amna bint Ahmed Al-Rumehi, emphasised that the development of this service forms part of the Ministry's ongoing efforts to re-engineer government services, thereby helping to simplify and streamline procedures for beneficiaries through the use of digital solutions and the development of e-services. Al-Rumehi added that the Ministry continues to review and develop its e-services in line with best practice, in keeping with the objectives of government's digital transformation to improve the efficiency of procedures and provide faster, easier and more flexible services, thereby enhancing user experience. Secretary-General of the Council of Representatives, Engineer Mohammed Al-Bouanin, delivered a speech at the annual celebration organised by the General Secretariat of the Council of Representatives on the occasion of the International Day of Parliamentarism. He affirmed that the International Day of Parliamentarism embodies the pivotal role of Parliament in consolidating democracy and safeguarding human rights. He pointed out that Bahrain, under the leadership of His Majesty the King, has established an advanced parliamentary model within the framework of the Comprehensive Reform Project, which has made the Legislative Authority a key partner in supporting the development process and national decision-making. He explained that the support and attention given to parliamentary work by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister have contributed to consolidating the integration between the executive and legislative branches and enhancing the efficiency of institutional work, thus serving the national development process and fulfilling the aspirations of the nation and its citizens. Al-Bouanin concluded his speech by emphasising that the General Secretariat of the Council of Representatives is continuing to develop its services system and enhance the technical, legal and research support that underpins the work of the Council of Representatives. The International Day of Parliamentarism is celebrated on June 30th, emphasising the central role of Parliament in legislation, democracy and human rights. In Bahrain, the significance is marked by ongoing legislative processes that enhance laws, strengthen the rule of law and support parliamentary diplomacy. This year's theme, The Future of Human Rights, is written in Parliaments, underscores the legislative authority's commitment to justice and rights protection. Bahrain has achieved significant legislative advancements, including laws on restorative justice, human trafficking and women's rights, fostering democratic practices and aligning with international standards. Through active international parliamentary diplomacy, Bahrain promotes coexistence and counters hate speech, reflecting a dedication to collective development and modernisation in its legislative experience. Bahrain's parliamentary division delegations took part in the third session of the second session of the fourth legislative term of the Arab Parliament, held at the General Secretariat headquarters of the Arab League in Cairo, chaired by the Speaker of the Arab Parliament, Mohammed bin Ahmed Al-Yamahi. The session saw Member of Parliament Mohammed Salman Al-Ahmed take the parliamentary oath in the Arab Parliament, during which he expressed his pride at participating in the plenary session of the Arab Parliament. He conveyed Bahrain's steadfast vision and the leadership of His Majesty the King, and with the support of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister in supporting joint Arab action. MP Al-Ahmed added that Bahrain has been and will remain at the forefront of countries supporting every unified Arab effort, particularly in the face of Iran's hostile aggression, targeting the security of the Gulf and the region. For his part, Member of Parliament Dr. Hisham Ahmed Al-Ashiri said that participation in the plenary session of the Arab Parliament stems from Bahrain's steadfast approach, under the leadership of His Majesty the King, in supporting all that strengthens Arab solidarity. He added that under the guidance of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Bahrain has proven itself to be a safeguard for joint Arab action. In the presence and participation of GCC Secretary-General Ajaz Mohammed Al-Badawi, the GCC-US think tank Strategic Dialogue was officially launched. The initiative is jointly organised by Bahrain Centre for Strategic International and Energy Studies at Dirasat and the American Foreign Policy Council AFPC, in coordination with the GCC General Secretariat. Marking the inauguration of the dialogue, participants convened in a closed webinar to examine the future of the GCC-US partnership amid the region's rapidly evolving security and economic landscape, and to assess the implications for regional security, energy security and economic integration. The GCC Secretary-General emphasised that the Gulf-US partnership extends beyond security, serving as a growing economic hub that is reshaping global investment, energy and technology. He added that the region's security challenges require a shared strategic commitment to define the post-war era and address its complex, interconnected challenges. During his intervention, CEO of the Bahrain Centre for Strategic International and Energy Studies at Dirasat, Abdullah Mohammed Al-Ahmed, emphasised that the dialogue is intended not only to assess recent developments, but also to anticipate future trends, draw strategic lessons and formulate practical policy recommendations that will strengthen GCC-US cooperation and contribute to advancing regional stability. The dialogue addressed several key themes, including the future of GCC-US security partnership, energy security and economic integration. The King Hamad Global Centre for Coexistence and Tolerance, KHGC, organised a symposium entitled Combating Hate Speech, a Shared Responsibility Towards a More Cohesive and Tolerant Society. A select group of specialists and experts participated in the symposium. The director of the Coexistence Department at the Centre, Noura Al-Mansouri, affirmed that Bahrain represents a leading civilizational model of a coexistence and tolerance based on a rich historical legacy and a firmly established national approach, strengthened by the wise leadership of His Majesty the King and the directives of His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. The symposium included 3 specialised sessions. At its conclusion, the participants issued a number of recommendations. The Centre affirmed its continued efforts to support initiatives and programmes aimed at promoting a culture of coexistence, tolerance and dialogue, and to solidify Bahrain's position as a global model for respect and diversity and promoting the values of peace and understanding among peoples. The Acting Secretary General of the Royal Humanitarian Foundation, Engineer Ibrahim Dahan Al-Dosari, and Director General of the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, Jared Muller, signed a joint agreement at the United Nations in Vienna, aimed at fostering cooperation in areas of mutual interest. The agreement stems from both parties' commitment to strengthening cooperation and broadening the scope of their partnership in implementing initiatives and programmes that serve development of humanitarian objectives and contribute to supporting an economic recovery, grounded humanitarian action and the restoration of sustainable livelihoods in crisis-affected environments. It also aims to capitalise on the expertise and capabilities available to both parties, thereby helping to achieve a positive and sustainable impact on the target communities. The head of the Terrorism Crimes Prosecution stated that the High Criminal Court issued sentence in 6 separate cases involving individuals who supported and endorsed the hostile Iranian aggression in Bahrain, filmed vital locations and disseminated false news and rumours via social media during the brutal Iranian aggression against Bahrain. The court sentenced 7 defendants to prison terms, ranging from 5 to 10 years, fined some of them 2,000 dinars and ordered the confiscation of seized items. The public prosecution received several reports from the Cybercrime Unit of the General Directorate of Anti-Corruption, Economic and Electronic Security, indicating the monitoring of social media accounts containing images, videos and comments expressing for support of the hostile Iranian aggression targeting Bahrain. These accounts also included images of vital locations and a dissemination of false news and rumours intended to harm Bahraini society, incite panic and undermine public security, all in light of the hostile Iranian aggression against Bahrain. Investigations identified the individuals responsible for these accounts. Consequently, the public prosecution immediately launched an investigation upon receiving these reports, interrogating the accused, hearing witnesses' testimonies, and appointing technical experts to examine the seized electronic devices. The examination results confirmed the accused involvement in the alleged offences. In light of this, the public prosecution ordered the referral of the accused to the High Criminal Court, where these cases were heard over several sessions, during which all the prescribed legal guarantees were observed, including the presence of the accused lawyers and enabling them to present their defence until the aforementioned sentences were issued against them. As part of the government's ongoing efforts to develop and re-engineer services, 88 services were developed across 18 government entities between January the 15th and June the 24th, 2026. This initiative aligns with plans to continuously improve the quality of government services and enhance institutional performance. Service development has resulted in significant improvements, including 100% digital transformation of services, a minimum 25% reduction in service level agreements, SLAs, a reduction in application steps to a maximum of 4, and a 50% decrease in required documentation.